The 11-inch mono or the 14-inch double D? What do we use? Well, if you hang around for a while, we'll go and find out. Good morning everyone, out again in the bush for a bit of a play, and today what I'd like to do is a little bit of testing on the 14-inch double D compared to the 11-inch mono on the GPX 6000. Now I've used both coils, but I've never really done any side-by-side testing, but the other thing I wanted to show people was how the two coils compare under different detecting situations. If you've got highly mineralized ground or EMI, we all know that the 14-inch double D is the coil to go to. Well, let's just go and see what it performs like compared to the 11-inch mono when we're actually out in the field. So let's get going. Here's the first location I'm going to have a look at. You can see there's a bit of a gully up in front of us here. The old timers worked through that gully and they chopped it out, and if we come down here a little bit, we're coming down to the intersection now with a major creek. And if I scroll over to my left, you can see there's a few old workings there. You can see the quartz. It's very mineralized, and you can see the ground is absolutely saturated. It is really wet. The ground is quite salty, and as you can see, I've still got the mono coil on, and I've done everything I possibly can to get this machine quiet. It's on difficult ground. It's on minimum sensitivity. I've done ground balance after ground balance, still no improvement. Let's just have a listen. I'll turn this enhancer on and you'll hear what I'm putting up with. No, thank you very much. Not for me. So there's only one thing for it. We'll put the double D coil on and we'll see how much better it is with that setup. Now I've come back to the bottom of this gully, back to these workings where the ground is really saturated and quite salty, and what I've done is I've come back here with the double D coil, and what I'm going to do is run that for a while and just show you how much quieter it is. Now I've got the machine still set on sensitivity number 4. It's on conductive ground cancel, and it's pretty well right to go. So just think back to what you heard with the mono coil, and let's have a little bit of a listen to the 14-inch double D and see if it will do its stuff. Okay, here we go. And if you listen to that, pretty darn quiet really. So that's not bad at all. So if there's anything down here worth finding, you'll find it in this mode. So I'll keep going and see if I can come up with a scrap or two. Okay, I've made it up to the head of this gully, and what I'm going to do is try and work a little bit higher up the gully, up onto some flats, but there's a bit of a problem. You can see there's some high tensile power leads there, or power lines, and they're going to make this machine run horribly with this mono coil on it. Now I'm running sensitivity 3 at the moment. I've done an auto tune, I've ground balanced, but I really can't get much out of it. So just have a bit of a listen to this. Now at the moment I'm probably about 40 meters away from those power lines. So here we go. Now, the further I walk up, the worse it's going to get. And I won't go much further, but I think you get the idea of what it's like. And that would drive you mad over a period of time. So again, this is another situation where the double D will come in handy, and I'll pop that on later and I'll show you what it's like. Now I'm about 40 metres from the power lines, and the machine's still nice and sweet. Now there's no way I can get this close with the mono coil, so it's worth its weight in gold. And what I'll do is I'll just get up basically in underneath some of these power lines and just show you how quiet it is. Just a little bit bump sensitive there, but generally it's running nice and quiet. Now I'm only about 10 metres from being directly underneath those wires, so it's running quite well. A bit of an old dig hole there, somebody found a piece of gold at some stage, I'd say, or a bit of rubbish. But that machine's running really nicely. Okay, back to some more detecting. I put the 11-inch coil back on because I'm well away from that wet gully I was in, and the power lines are a long, long way away. I like the 11-inch coil mainly because of its sensitivity, and also being a little bit smaller in this overgrown country, it's much nicer to swing. Now you might see that little rock. It's a little bit of conglomerate sitting in front of me, and I picked up a bit of a signal on it a couple of minutes ago, so have a bit of a listen. I reckon it might have a bit of gold in it. But before I crack it open, I think what I'll do is I'll go and get the double D coil, put it back on, and just do a bit of a comparison and see how it sounds. I'm not sure how the double D will perform. I'm sure it will pick it up. I just want to see if it's as chirpy as this 11-inch coil. I doubt it, but there's only one way to find out. Okay, you wouldn't read about it. I've picked up another rock, and it's got a nice little signal on one corner. Have a listen. Again, I'm using the 11-inch mono, but here we go. It sounds pretty good to me. Again, I'll have another look with the double D and see how the response compares, and we'll break it up and see what it is later on. Well, there's the rock I found about 5 minutes ago, and just on my way back towards the car, I got a screaming signal in the push pile. Have a listen to this, that little bit of conglomerate there. Sending the machine nuts. I don't think it's got much size to it, but again, I'll run the double D over that one just to see what the sound comparison is. Okay, back with the double D coil on. So I brought the first rock down, and they're all in a row now. We should be able to do a bit of a comparison. What I might do later on is I might splice the other little bits of footage in so that we can actually do a comparison as to how the signals come through. So let's have a look. I'll get some sound happening. Now from memory, this first one we may have to rotate to get a good signal off it. I'll kick that around a little bit. There it is, just getting it on the end. So it looks as though the piece we're after is on the end, if it's a piece of gold. Now the second one, this should sound off quite well, I'm hoping anyway, so have a listen. There's nothing anywhere else. And then finally the third one. Now the third one may have actually interfered slightly with the first signal, but here we go. Perfect. Alright, what we might do is see if we can break a couple of those up and see what we can end up with. So I might just disconnect. I'm just going to take this harness off, it'll make life a little bit easier. And I'll get a pick out and we'll start breaking these up. Now the audio won't be quite as good because we're using the rear speaker, so let's see if we can crack this in half. We'll go again. Okay, that's giving off a signal. Nothing there. Nothing there. We go halves again. That's sounding good now. Nothing in that one. Oh, there it is. Let's see if we can get it in there. Just that little piece there. So we'll break that one out later. Okay, that's one. I'll put him down there out of the way, and now I'll just double check this second one. Get the pick out of the way. I've really got to break some off this end. Oh, that was hard work. Okay, I've broken it down into 3 pieces. And it's in this piece here. So we'll kick these out of the way. I'll come back in a minute when we break it up a little bit finer. Okay, there it is. All that work for that tiny little piece. Both of those coils are sensitive. You can see it's quite close to the surface, so it picked it up well. So I'll smash the rest of that out later on. Anyway, on to the third one. Okay, here we go with the final one. Hopefully it's got a little bit more size to it. Well, that was a bit easier. Nothing in that. No, I can't see anything at the moment. Right. It's in here. Aha. Again, another small piece. Not that one. Oh, it must be here. I think it must have dropped off with the other rubbish. I'll just run this coil over it. So it's there with the dust. see it. That's it. This is minute again. There it is. Tiny little tacker. Okay, that's just about me for today. So time to head off. It was good to get out here and play with the double D coil and just see where its strengths lie. Obviously in the saturated ground and also in the areas where there was EMI, it performed really well. It was just a nice little add-on to test signals against a couple of targets that I found with the 11-inch coil. Oh, by the way, one of the targets I did find earlier on in the day was found with the 14-inch double D. It was a piece of gold. So all in all, it was a good day out. Anyway, until next time guys, cheers for now.